Also on Capitol Hill, with a very different perspective, New York Congressman Ritchie Torres. Congressman, it's great to have you on the program. I hope very soon to have you here in the studio. It's a beautiful studio. I hope you'll join me here sometime soon. You're from the Bronx, sir. Talk to me about your district and its unique relationship to Medicaid and the implications for those in your district in this legislation.
Look, when America sneezes, the Bronx gets the flu, and the Bronx is going to be the hardest hit by the President Trump's trillion-dollar cut to Medicaid and child health care, as well as the $300 billion cut to SNAP. There's no congressional district in America that depends more heavily on Medicaid than mine. 67% of my residents are enrolled in Medicaid, more than 70% of children, more than 80% of nursing home residents, more than 90% of baby deliveries are covered by Medicaid in my district. Just about every hospital, which depends heavily on Medicaid, is either teetering on the brink or in the red. And the so-called big, beautiful bill would deeply destabilize the healthcare system in the Bronx and elsewhere in America. It's a catastrophe for the working poor people of the Bronx.
When the White House says, Congressman Torres, that these changes to Medicaid are for the sake of efficiency and to get those who are able-bodied without children to either volunteer or find work or look for work, they call those common sense reforms. What is your response?
You know, it's one thing to defund Medicaid. It's something else to lie about it and pretend to do the exact opposite of what you're doing. The Republicans have been deeply dishonest. The percentage of able-bodied adults without children who refuse to work is 0.2% of all Medicaid enrollees. The largest category of people who benefit from Medicaid are children, right? In New York State, the elderly and the disabled make up 20% of enrollees, but 60% of Medicaid spending. So the Medicaid program overwhelmingly benefits those in greatest need, the young, the elderly, the chronically ill, and the disabled. So make no mistake, a $1 trillion attack on Medicaid is inevitably an attack on the most vulnerable people in our society.
You made a reference to SNAP, Congressman, that Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It used to be called food stamps. What does that mean in your district?
Throughout the United States, there are more than 40 million Americans who depend on SNAP, about 13% of the population. In my district, it's much higher. 1/3 of the Bronx population depends heavily on SNAP for food security. And the problem with SNAP is not that it's overfunded. The problem is that it's chronically underfunded. The maximum SNAP benefit over the course of a month is about $292, which amounts to a daily SNAP budget of $6. Like a single meal can easily cost more than $6. A cup of coffee from Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts could cost more than $6. And keep in mind, over the last 4 years, American families have seen a 25% rise in food prices. And so if you factor in the impact of inflation, the impact of the 20 to 30% budget cut proposed by the Trump administration and congressional Republicans, we're talking about $3.15 a day in SNAP benefits. That's barely a dollar for each meal if you have 3 meals a day. And so we're effectively leaving the working poor with $1 per meal in order to finance massive tax breaks for billionaires like Elon Musk, who has a net worth of upward of $400 billion. I cannot imagine a greater betrayal of working people than to starve the working poor of the Bronx in order to finance massive tax cuts for the top 1%.
Congressman, let's talk about New York City politics. Zohran Mamdani describes himself as a Democratic socialist, won officially today the New York City mayoral primary. Would you support him? Do you support him? Or is he part of what you have on podcasts and elsewhere described as the recent radicalization of progressive politics?
Look, he is the Democratic nominee. He is well positioned to be the next mayor of New York. And, we spoke on Sunday, and I said to him, I'm committed to building a relationship with him. I'm committed to a working relationship with him because, I'm in Congress. I work with people whose opinions are radically different from my own. But I have an obligation to forge a working relationship with those people with whom I disagree for the good of the city and for the good of the country. And Mr. Mamdani is no exception to that rule.
When he says he would not assist in any way with ICE enforcement efforts in mayor, if he's elected mayor of New York City. How do you regard that?
Look, I generally agree. I mean, if you are a law-abiding, undocumented immigrant who's been rooted in the community for a long time, who's been contributing to society, then you should be protected from deportation. But if you pose a public safety risk, if you're a violent offender or a sex offender, then I would favor cooperation under those circumstances. And that's the law of New York City.
And what about the idea, Congressman Torres, of rent stabilization and city-operated and owned grocery stores?
Look, the devil's in the details, but I certainly support rental relief for tenants, but we also have to ensure that these properties have enough rental revenues to replace the boilers and the bricks, because we have to provide tenants both with affordability and housing quality. And then, as far as I have no objection if a Mayor Mamdani wants to create a city-run grocery store. God bless him. I feel like New York can survive a publicly run grocery store. I feel like the reaction has been a bit hyperbolic and hysterical.
Congressman Ritchie Torres, I appreciate your time very much, sir. Hope to talk to you again.
Absolutely.